So I want to talk about the place of African women, the place of women in African spirituality, and some of the African indigenous religion and belief system. As a woman, you have a sacred, very important place, and this is seen in a lot of tradition where if someone wants to do some workings on you, on a person, they will ask them for their mother's name, not their father's, but their mother's name. And this is because the potency that the vibe has, the potency and the relationship between the mother and the child is very much important. You can refer back to my video on energy chords for women and how I stressed in the strength that the chord can have between a mother and a child. And this is why in African spirituality the mother has a tremendous, very important role in terms of the family and in terms of the well-being of the children. And also because we are coming from matriarchal societies, and that is reflected in all aspects of life. And magic or belief system also will reflect that. And one way, like I mentioned, is that when someone wants to do workings on you, and back then we didn't have any pictures and things like that, and even if you didn't have any of their personals, like hair, DNA or whatever, they will ask you for the person's name and the person's mother's name, because they will try to influence that chord through the mother's chord. And this is also why a lot of African people, if you ask them out of random for their mother's maiden name, most of them will not give it to you, because we know that this is something that's really sacred and that people can use against you. Now also, it also means that if you are somebody's mother and you're trying to do workings on them, you will have a lot of influence doing that. And this is why a lot of men whose mothers are against them or doing workings with against them or against their marriages or what have you, will have a harder time fighting that off, because the mother has an upper hand. And most of the time the traditional healer will ask them to find an older woman who could intervene in their favor. And that older woman could be the mother-in-law, it could be a mentor, a mother figure in the person's life. And that is really important. It also shows that no matter on what side you stand, there's always a woman that has to step in order to offer protection, or in order to validate what is going on, or to accelerate the healing. Now, this is not in old traditions. There's a lot of different traditions. Like I've talked before that I'm from the MlleCammy tribe in Cameroon, and within our tribe, depending on which village you come from, there may be some different local custom or different tradition that you will follow. But one of the commonalities when you go from a village to another, or you even go from one tribe to another, or you're from another African country, sub-Saharan Africa, you will see that the role of the mother in everything that has to do with mysticism, energy work, healing work, spiritual work, the mother figure is very, very important. So the mother is important when she's alive, because she can offer you extra protection. Sometimes they will ask you to come with your mother so that she can give you some blessings to strengthen you for protection as well. And even once the mother or the woman has passed away, all the time the ancestor that we call upon are most of the time, many times, the mothers, because in life they were healers, they were fighters, and then once they pass and join the ancestors, they still retain those qualities, and sometimes those powers are even stronger. This is not to say that the men don't have powers and protection as well. They do. We also can call on your grandfather and the male figure. It also depends on your relationship, the name you carry, the energy you're carrying with you. In my tradition, for example, only women can have a traditional ancestor's name that can be man or male or female. Or male, yeah, or female. But for the man, they will have a man ancestor name. So this is also to show that a woman can embody the masculine energy and be able to curtail it and to master it. But in our tradition, men don't get to be called by the name of a female ancestor. Well, I'm not going to dive into why in this video, but it's just to underline that those energies are around you and you can use them, and as a woman you have the power and the strength to basically do a lot of things and be able to protect your children and intervene and help them strive or heal faster. But of course you have to be yourself in tune to all of those different things. You know, sometimes you will feel like something is wrong. Sometimes you will have a hunch and you have to be able to know it is a hunch. You know that the information is correct and follow it and trust your intuition and the energy that's guiding you. Unfortunately, a lot of Africans now, they are very still scared of their own traditions due to the impact of Christianity and colonization. But a lot now are seeking back their roots, seeking back this information, and seeking back to be able to be whole again in practice without having to necessarily go to someone else. I do believe that we all have healing capabilities and we all have abilities to have a spiritual path where we don't need to rely on other people. Everything is within ourselves. That doesn't mean that we cannot rely on other people, because we can, obviously. But for those who want to do it themselves, it is possible to do it. And I know some people will scrunch and not appreciate this, but I'm a big believer of self-initiation, because this is the path I took. Some people will go see a mentor and get initiated that way. For me, I wasn't scared to face whatever will come my way. And of course, this is not a path for everybody. And in my tradition, it is not frowned upon to self-initiate. We have particular rituals, energies, and powers that are being given from one generation to another. So let's say your grandmother or your grandfather, the person holding the power, will basically choose one child among his children or the children around him to teach and to transfer the knowledge to. And that person may not be, the firstborn. Basically, the person will have to assess the character and the ability of the person we can call his successor in the spirit world, and with all of the power that he has accumulated. And so upon his passing, sometimes the successor is named before the person passes away, sometimes it is divinated after the person has already passed away, and then that person will inherit a whole array of workings, powers, totem, and all kind of different things. Now, when you get to look at who's not getting the power or who's not being called the successor, this is actually talking about the other children. And unlike the tradition, the Western tradition, that's kind of like, when you read about kings and castles and princes and stuff like that, it's more like, the prince who gets to get on the throne, all of his brothers and sisters are trying to kill him to take his spot. But in our tradition, if you're not a successor, it's even more for you, a call for you to make something out of yourself and to self-initiate, or to find another tribesman to be initiated or another practice to be initiated on. And that has very much a lot of power, because if you manage to gain that knowledge, to experiment and to be well versed in your craft so that people come to you, that is also being very well seen, especially if you have healing powers or you come from a family of healers. So the idea of self-initiating is not at all taboo. It seems like now in 2016 everyone is kind of on the internet trying to self-initiate themselves or seeking out for mentors and stuff like that, but in our tradition this is something that's completely normal. You will always have a group of people that will be initiated, and you will always have people that will self-initiate. Not only when you have a child that's already awakened or born with some powers that are already awakened, as a parent, you can choose either to have a mentor and initiate that child if you're not yourself very much in tune to that aspect, or you can simply like initiate the child yourself, or let the child self-initiate. Of course, the caveat in that is that the advantage of having a mentor or somebody initiating you, that means it's somebody that's providing a lot of experience that can guide you on your path, and help you avoid certain traps, if you'd like, and give you support. So the other side of that is like when you're self-initiating, you're gonna have to hit some bumps. You're gonna have to fall in and get up on your own, but at the same time, the strength you will acquire, because you will become you will develop your powers on your own. Okay, so in that area, I think African spirituality is there for you to grasp. You have it in you, and as a woman, you have to understand that your power is very potent, and that you have a significant role to play in the well-being of the people around you. The mother is the one that's going to be transmuting the knowledge and the belief system to the child. From the moment the child is born, in our tradition, like I said, we from an early age we teach them some of the basic foundation of our magical workings. Like I mentioned, Didim is being taught to children soon as like 1 year old, as soon as they're able to hold it. They only hold it when their child is put that in their sleeping air corners, and we carry them, so they grew up around magic. There's no taboo around it, and it's even better for us when somebody is actually when you actually brought up, so that you see all the different things. Like we talk to the child about spirits, what they are, where they are, how to honor them, who are their ancestors, just so that when you grow up, it's something that's natural to you. It's not something that's going to appear as some sci-fi thing. And it's also because a lot of time our children are already born in tune with some aspect of the spirituality, so they have different experiences. They may come and tell you about dreams that are actually very, very vivid, or tell you about experiences, memories, and things like that, that you as a parent or as a mother should be able to curtail and reassure the child, and be able to interpret sometimes, or give them pointers for them to interpret. And dreams are also a great vehicle used by ancestors to provide messages, and to give guidance, and to also provide support. And I'll end on this, which kind of goes and ties in with the other videos that I've made so far, is that all traditions are not the same. There are many belief systems in Africa that are practiced differently. You will hear people sharing about their tradition, and for example, there's one that if I say, a lot of people may be shocked, but for example, with the Orishas, or some of the belief system from West Africa, Nigeria, the Yoruba tradition, etc., people will tell you that, you have to work with Papa Legba before you can work with some other deities. Well, I can assure you that there are other traditions where you don't have to work with Papa Legba in order to have access to, for example, Yemaya or other deities. And the caveat is that I am not part of the Yoruba tradition or West African tradition, but we do have the same deities. Those deities are not, recluse to that area. They are present globally, and a lot of these deities are named differently in other different countries, African countries, and in other different belief systems. And if some of these deities approach you, you can ask them all of that. Usually between your personal relationship with the deity will tell you the things you need to do. And sometimes you'll never even know who Papa Legba is until you meet somebody else who's practicing that way, or until you go to YouTube and find out. So it's just, I'm just putting that out there. I know it's going to upset a lot of people because some people are really strict about, you know, what they have to do, and that's fine, because remember, if you have to do it, that means that was imposed on you. That was like the path that you were supposed to take. But all I'm saying is like not everybody has to take that path, just remember, we're all different. We have different abilities and we have different relationship with deities. So as a woman, just know that you are very important to the craft. You are very important to whatever culture you decide to associate yourself with or not associate yourself with. But when you talk about a spiritual family or a physical family or a community, the role of women is one of that is very, very important, and that no matter how much colonization and other things come around, it will remain that way. And obviously we are living longer for a reason. So just accept and honor your gifts, because everybody has gifts. And if you tune in and surrender, you will see that some of those gifts are already awakened. So just enjoy your journey and enjoy your path.